Chapter 14, Mishnah 1. This chapter discusses laws of Tumas Ohel that apply to overhangs and ledges that protrude from walls. We learned in Chapter 3, Mishnah 7, that an object cannot act as an Ohel unless it is at least a tefach square. This Mishnah discusses an exception that applies to a certain type of overhang. An overhang that juts out over the open doorway of a house serves as an ohel and brings tuma into the house if the overhang is any size, no matter how narrow. Although in general, an object cannot be an ohel unless it is a tefach square, the overhang is considered an extension of the doorway and thus is considered large enough to be an ohel. Accordingly, if a corpse or piece of corpse is under the overhang brings the tuma from the corpse into the house. But a gizra or gavless types of ledges that juts over a doorway serves only as an ohel if it is a tefach square. The Mishnah explains the difference between an overhang and a gizra. What is an overhang? A ledge whose edge faces downward, i.e., one whose edge curves and extends downward over the doorway. Such a ledge is obviously made to service the doorway, and therefore it is viewed as an extension of the doorway. And what is a gizra? A ledge whose edge faces upward, away from the doorway. Such a ledge is not made to service the doorway, and thus is not considered an extension of the doorway. Accordingly, it must be measured on its own. It is not a tefach square, it is not an ohel. Having ruled that an overhang acts as an ohel, even if it is narrower than a tefach, the Mishnah limits that ruling. And in which case did the sages say that an overhang brings tuma into a house if the overhang is any size, when the overhang is no higher than 3 rows of stone, which is equal to 12 tefachim above the doorway? Such an overhang is considered an extension of the doorway and thus is an ohel. But if the overhang is higher than this, it is not considered an extension of the doorway. Thus it can be an ohel and bring tuma into the house only if it is a tefach square. The Mishnah mentions other objects similar to ledges. Ornamental archways and engraved stones that jut out over a doorway bring tuma into the house only if they are a tefach square. These are not made for the doorway, but rather to decorate the house. Thus, they are not extensions of the doorway and must be a tefach square to act as an ohel.